One day my dishwasher broke and wouldn't show any signs of life. This is the story of a repair battle that I'm happy to say I won, thanks in part to this little guy who saved the day. So if your dishwasher has no power and isn't responding, hopefully this video can show you different ways that you can diagnose it and fix it yourself. So a no power situation is actually a symptom that I prefer when fixing things as opposed to an intermittent problem, because sometimes it's easier to find the component that went bad, or if you're lucky, the connection that came loose. So first you want to check the obvious things like, is the breaker tripped, is the dishwasher getting power, and looking for any loose connections. But since the power looks like it's coming to the dishwasher, I need to pull it out and dig further. On many dishwashers, the next thing to check is the noise filter for the power. That's this gray plastic box right here. This thing reduces the electrical noise that might bother other electronics. Thankfully, it's easy to get access to. There are two screws on either side of the housing that you want to take off. With the box out, you want to disconnect these two wire harnesses, and you might need to pull the top off a little to get to them. Now I'm looking for any burned parts or anything out of the ordinary. I don't see anything, but there is a fuse here, so I need to make sure to check that. So the beep means that there's an electrical signal going through the fuse and all is good. I was kind of hoping that I would only need to replace the fuse, but after confirming that there's good AC voltage going in and out of the filter, I need to dig further. With the front door open, you'll notice there's screws on the inside all along the perimeter, and when you take those screws out, you get access to the main control board and some other electronics. Looking over this control board, I'm looking for anything out of place, broken parts, burned things, loose connectors, weird sounds or smells. I've actually found things before by sound or smell, but there's nothing that I see that's wrong with this board. So next I want to confirm if there's power actually going to the touchpad.
Alright, so I didn't detect any voltages here.
So it seems there's power going into the board and there's no low voltage signal going to the touchpad, so there's probably something wrong with this control board. So next I'd normally try to do some voltage checking on the board, but I don't know if you can see it. There's a huge amount of coating on this board because it's in a wet environment, and it makes it near impossible to do component level diagnostics. I even got out my thermal imaging camera, hoping that it might find a short circuit, but even that search turned up empty. So I took a step back to ponder this predicament, and I noticed something. I saw there was a red LED indicator light that wasn't on. So I went online to see if I could get a service manual or more information about this LED, and I couldn't believe it, but LG actually has the repair manual on their website. And this is so awesome because usually I have to go hunting for service manuals on very sketchy websites. A service manual is what you want to get your hands on. It has the information that usually gives detailed step-by-step diagnostics and repair help, like this flowchart to solve a no power situation. And then there's this amazing step on the flowchart: is the LED on or not? If not, the board is bad. So I really want to find out the culprit, but that coating is in the way, so I have to pony up the money for a used board on eBay. So after parting with about 70 clams, I'm hoping this will get my dishwasher working again. Now when you're repairing things, you might be nervous about putting everything back together. I always recommend taking a video or photo beforehand so you can reference it later if you need to. In my excitement, I didn't pay too close attention to that red LED light. I assumed it was on based on the lighting of the room, but I went to test the dishwasher and nothing happened. So after introducing my forehead to a nearby door jamb a few times, I used my non-contact voltage detector to confirm again that there was power going to this board, and because I think I'm going crazy, I even used my meter to confirm that there is a voltage on each AC wire. So I assume this eBay board is bad and I go to order another one. But when I went to put the new board in, I providentially looked down and in the corner of my eye saw this. One of the AC wires right near the bottom edge had a tear in it, and with a small tug it separated from the other end of the wire. Now that I found the culprit, the problem is that the cut in the wire is right at this point where it pinches, and it's also a part of this big wire harness, so it's difficult to solder the connection back together. So with more taken apart and the wire out of the harness, I have room to work, and this is where our little guy that I mentioned at the beginning saves the day. With the old wire stripped, I found a similar gauge wire from my graveyard of parts so I can get more slack when I put everything back together. These tubes come in a whole set, and after choosing the right size, you can splice an inline connection very quickly. They're made up of shrink wrap tubing with solder and flux in the middle, so once you have your wire connections lined up in the middle, you only need to apply enough heat to melt the solder and the tubing shrinks to grip the old wire. The other end's a little more difficult because there's not a ton of room, but it does shrink up just as easily as the first one. That was the sound I heard from downstairs when I flipped the breaker on, the dishwasher was booting up, and when I arrived, I saw the glorious light of the red LED. So after all that hassle, I only needed a few cents worth of parts to fix the dishwasher. The eBay sellers even surprised me by accepting returns on the boards even after I told them that it was my mistake. So give me your guesses down below as to why this had voltage even before I did the repair. If you enjoyed this video, please help me out and click that thumbs up button. And if you like repair videos, you should watch the video on how I even got the $600 dishwasher from the trash.